Okay, quarter 2, week 7, day 2, find the quotient. Okay, so this is where I always have to write small and try to fit a bunch of information into a small section here. So let's do it. So how many times does 54 go into 3? It doesn't. How many times does 54 go into 39? It doesn't. So does 54 go into 392? Yeah, it definitely does. Okay, so I would have to say probably about 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 more is 37. Okay, and then we subtract. I'm going to try to use as little space as possible. All right, we're going to have to borrow from this 9, make it an 8. This becomes a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 3 minus 3 is 0. So we'll just bring down this 0 here. All right, how many times does 54 go into 140? Well, 54 is right around 50. 50 times 3 is 150. So that's too many. So it's just going to have to be times 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. All right, and then we subtract that. Well, once again, we're going to have to borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. 3 minus 0 is 3. And 1 minus 1 is 1, so we don't have to do that one. Bring down the 8 now. All right, so how many times does 54 go into 328? Okay, probably 6 times. Okay, because I'm kind of using 54 close to 50 and kind of estimating that way. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 2 more is 32. Well, that got us pretty close, right? So 8 minus 4 is 4. Now we're going to have to bring down one of the zeros. Okay, how many times does 54 go into 40? It can't. So we're just going to put a 0 there. And we could do all the other math, but I'm just going to bring down another 0 without taking up any more space. So how many times does 54 go into 400 without going over? Well, if it was 50, it would be times 8, and that would get us 400 exactly. So it's 54, so it's going to have to be times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. And 7 times 5 is 35, plus 2 more, 37. Subtract. All right, we're going to have to borrow all the way over here to this 4 and make it a 3. This 10 is going to become a 9. And this becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. And now we bring down another 0. Okay, so how many times does 54 go into 220? I would say probably 4 times approximately. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 more is 21. All right, and so we're getting deep into this. This is going to keep going a little bit, but we can probably stop at this point, because we've gone several places past the decimal. So I would say that our answer for this one could be 726,074 thousandths, right? Tenths, hundred thousandths. So 726.074 would be the answer for that quotient. Okay, next we are going to find the product. So let's go ahead and do that now. 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 5 is 5. That makes life real simple when it's a 1. All right, so let's do the next one. We have to take up the little space there because we're over here. 9 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 more is 11. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 more is 16. Okay, and then we can do the 0 if we want to, but it's pretty much unnecessary. It's just going to be a bunch of zeros. So let's just go ahead and add this up. 9 plus nothing is 9. 7 plus 3 is 10. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 7, and a 6 and a 1. How many places do we have to move the decimal over? 1, 2, 3, 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the product for this one is 1.6709. All right, so that's all we have to do with that one. And sometimes you wonder, why is it smaller since we multiplied? Well, we're multiplying by something that is less than 1. So if you multiply 5.39 times 1, you'll get 5.39. And then any number above that, it's going to get bigger. But if you multiply by something less than 1, it's going to end up making this smaller, okay? Because it's going to be that number times 1, but anything less than 1 would be lower than that. So just to remember that when you are solving things like this, just in case it confuses you a little bit, that's the reason why. Okay, here we go again. They think we're experts on greatest common factor and least common multiple, so they're putting them both on one box because they know it's just that easy for us. All right, so here we go. Greatest common factor of 42 and 90. Well, here's all the factors of 42. Here's all the factors of 90. Okay, what is the largest? Because that's greatest common factor. So what is the largest number that is in both of these? Well, it looks like I think it's the 6, right? The 6 is in both of these. Is there a 7 in both? Nope. 14, 21, or... Okay, so the greatest common factor of 42 and 90 is 6. Okay, then we go to the least common multiple. So here's all multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. And then here are multiples of 9, 18, 27, 36, and 45. So we want the least common multiple of 6 and 9. All right, well, it looks like there's not a 6 in both. There's not a 9, 12. There's an 18 in both. Okay, and there's also other numbers that are in it. There's like 36 that are in both of them, and so on and so forth. But we don't want just a common multiple. We want the least common multiple, which means 18 would be our answer for that one. So there's our greatest common factor and least common multiple that's being asked for. All right, so what is 75 of 128? So we're saying that 128 is the total. We're not sure what we're talking about exactly as far as what our items these are, but that's 128 is the total, and then 75 is the part. Okay, so 75 out of 128 is what we're figuring out. So what is that? So we need to find the percent, and since this is the total, okay, and this is the part, since this is the total, and this is the part, we need to basically divide the total into the part to find the percent. So we're going to have 128. We're going to divide that into 75. Okay, I'm going to put a bunch of zeros here because that's what I always do. All right, so we can't divide 128 into 7. We can't divide it into 75, but it can go into 750, and I'm going to guess it's going to be about 5 times. Okay, so let's see. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 more is 14. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 more is 6. Okay, 0 minus 0, 5 minus 4, and 7 minus 6. So we have 110 left over. So we'll bring down the 0. Wow, how many times will 128 go into 1,100? I'm going to guess it's about 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Let's see if this works. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 6 more. So 16 plus 6 is 22. And then 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 more is 10. All right, so now we're going to have to borrow this 1 and make it a 0. This will make this a 9. This makes it a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 2 is 7. And then 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, so we're left with 76. We'll bring down the 0. How many times does 128 go into 760? I would guess maybe about 6. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4 more is 16. Just thinking of something totally different there for a second. And 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. 768. Oh, that's just a little bit high. So it's going to be a little bit below that. So 58.5 maybe. So that's what we're going to kind of put as, so we have or 0.58 actually. I'm not sure why there's a decimal there. So 0.585. Okay. Remember, when you have a decimal, to make it into a percent, you multiply it by 100, which just moves it over 2 places. So the percent is going to be 58.5%. Okay, so 75 out of 128 is 58.5%. All right, this says to evaluate the expression. All right, we're going to follow PEMDAS. There's parentheses and exponents. Okay, so actually I kind of did the exponents ahead of time, but it's not really going to matter in this situation. So I did this one first. 7 squared. 7 times 7 is 49. So I rewrote it. And now at this point I realized, okay, we have just parentheses and an addition and multiplication. So you have to do what's in parentheses at this point. And that gave us 5.2 minus 2.8, which is 2.4. So then I rewrote that. Now we have addition and multiplication to do. So we have to do the multiplication before the addition. 3 times 2.4 is 7.2. And then we have 49 plus 7.2, which gives us 56.2. So that's how we evaluate this expression. The answer is 56.2. Use distributive property to create an equivalent expression to 7x plus 56. All right, so 7 and 56, the biggest number that goes into both of them is 7. So we're going to put that outside the parentheses. How many times does 7 go into 7? 1 time. So I'm just going to put 1x there. How many times does 7 go into 56? That would be 8 times. 7 times 8 is 56. There's our answer, 7, and then in parentheses, x plus 8. List 3 values that would make this inequality true. Okay, so I wrote it down here, and I did inequality, and I basically solved for g. I subtracted subtracted 4 from this side and subtracted it from this side. So I know that g is greater than or equal to 5. So 5 could be a possible answer, and then any number larger than 5. So it doesn't really matter what you put here. Okay, you could put 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Any infinite number as long as it is 5 or bigger, because this means greater than or equal to the number 5. Tamara purchased 31 cases of tile to use on her bathroom floor. She used 17 cases in her upstairs bathroom and the rest in her downstairs bathroom. Okay, so we know that the total is 31 cases, right? So we can put 31 as the answer. And then she used up 17 of the cases. And then to find out what the rest would be, 17 plus, well, the rest of it. I guess we can just put a T for tiles. Okay, so 17 plus T will give you 31. And once we find out what T is, that's what we know they used for the rest of the, for the other bathroom, for the downstairs bathroom, right? So that's all we have to do for that one. 17 plus T equals 31. Okay, the last thing we're asked to do is solve for x. Okay, so we just need to get x by itself on one side of the equal sign. So what type of math is happening here is a negative or subtracting 8. So basically, if you want to get rid of the 8, we just have to add 8 to both sides, right? And if we do that, that'll give us our answer, 8. A negative 8 and a positive 8 is basically nothing. So the only thing left on this side of the equal sign is x. So I'm just going to bring down the x and write it right there. And then all we have to do is 13 plus 8. So 13 plus 8 is 21. So x equals 21. And we can check that by doing 21 minus 8. And if we do 21 minus 8, that will give us 13. So we know for sure that x equals 21. And again, you just do the opposite operation of what's actually happening. Since it's subtracting 8, we just added 8 to both sides, and that gives us the value of x. All right, that's it for today's work.